Hi everybody and welcome to this new lesson. This is a continuation of the playbook series. So we talked in the previous lesson about the trigger step, and now we will talk about the core steps. So actually you have core steps, evaluate steps, execute, references, email, and authentication. So here in this lesson we'll talk about the core steps. So you have the create record. So the create record, update record, find records, ingest bulk feed, and set variable. So create record is nothing but to add a new record in your modules. So for example, based on some alert that you have received from your FortiSIM, you want to create some assets. So the alert itself has IPs and host names, and you want to add this assets into FortiSOAR. So you extract the host name or the IP from the alert itself, and then create an asset in your FortiSOAR. Or maybe you want to create some indicator. Okay, so the create record is very useful for that purpose. So simply you need to give the step a name, and always I encourage for description, and then the asset or the module that you want to create a record for. Okay, and then you can you have the option to select the fields that you can search here for the fields and start filling it with the values. So again, you can by clicking here, you get this dynamic values menu to select an input from a previous step or something from the same step. So step results means the same step we are inside. So if you have done some calculations in the same step, you find the results here in the same step. Or variables, if you have a variable defined in a previous step, or global variables, or IRI lookup. Okay, so it's very easy to search for whatever field you are looking for. So for example, I search for email, so it will come right away for you here, and you start selecting the value or write it manually. And the expressions is some utilities that help you actually manipulate the input. So you can select a dynamic value, but you don't need the dynamic value to be inserted in the record as it is. You want to make some conversion for it. So you can, for example, use some IP address operation. Maybe the input is a string, and you need to check. So for example, here IP address, and the input is a string, and you need to check if that string is a valid IP or not. So you can select this from here. Okay, so these are utilities. So as soon as you select the utility, check if a string is a valid IP address, it gives for you the input IP address. So again, when I select inside the IP address, it will bring to me the dynamic values. So from here, you select the input and the end result will be written here. So we will see that in action when we make use cases together. So for now, I will cancel this. Here you can see one useful tool that's coming with the assets, or with the create record in general, which is the uniqueness conflict settings. So actually you may create a playbook that add a new record, or create a new record in your system, but that record is a duplication of an existing record. So here the conflict settings solves this problem. So if a new record is evaluated as being a duplicate of an existing record, so you tell the FortiSOAR what to do. Stop the create process, so you don't have two records created that are duplicate from each other, or don't create the new record but keep existing intact. or update existing record all fields, or selectively update some fields of the existing record. So stop the create process will actually stop the playbook, and the playbook will stop execution, or don't create the new record and continue with the rest of the steps, or update the existing record. Maybe the new record has just new fields that is different from the existing one, or some updated values, so it will just update the existing record with the fields, so it will override, or selectively update some fields, and then you have to select the fields that you want to update. You can apply this for other modules as well, for alerts, for other things, and again the conflict settings are there, because the conflict settings is related to the operation itself of creating a record. Okay, as you can see here in the step utilities, so if I select some unique field here, so you can just get step utilities. Okay, so the step utilities have more options. So we talked about variables, we talked about message. Now you have other things like loop, and loop is very useful if you want to iterate among a list of values. So for example, I'm returning to my initial example of an alert that is ingested from 40 sim, and this alert has many indicators, okay, and many let's say assets, IPs, host names, and so on. So all of these indicators or assets, you want to create records for them. So you need to create, like, you have 5 host names, for example, and you need to create 5 records. In that case, you will have a list of this values inside the alert, so you need to iterate through that list. So again the values will be stored in the vars object. So vars.item means that you go through each and every item. So you put here the list of the objects, and then iterate through them to execute or to create the record. And here, this is a condition. You can put a condition, optional condition. So if this condition is satisfied, you actually leave this loop. Okay, this is optional thing. Otherwise, without this condition, the loop will continue. Also here, you can put a condition as a global condition for the whole creation of the record. So this condition should be satisfied. If this condition is not satisfied, actually you will not execute the record creation. So this one execute a step based on some condition. So don't be confused, guys, between this condition and this condition. This condition is related to the loop. So if I remove this one condition, this when will remove. Okay, or actually I move it from here. This, now it's in white color. When I click it, it will come here. So this when condition is related to the step itself. It's a condition that you put, and based on that condition, the step will be executed or not. If the condition is satisfied, the record will be created. If not, the record will not be created. This one is different from the condition inside the loop. Okay, so this condition inside the loop means that if the condition is satisfied, you will exit the loop, or you will continue with the loop. Okay, this option called mock output, and this is very useful in case that you have some step that is failing. Actually mock output is coming with all the types, not just the create record. So if the step is failing for some reason, maybe the input coming to that step was not the correct one you are expecting, so you can actually insert the input that you are looking for to just continue the work with the rest of the steps. So this one should be in JSON format. Okay, so this will override the default step output when the playbook is run. Okay, this is useful, as I said, in case you have some problem with the current step results. Okay, and you just want to proceed with the remaining steps, you just mock the output and insert it in JSON format, and the other steps would be able to continue from that point. Ignore error. By default, no. So you by default, no step error is ignored, and any step that has an error will make the whole playbook to fail. If you again need to bypass this error for some reason that you are troubleshooting, and you just need to check the rest of the steps after that step, you can ignore the error, turn it into yes, so allow it to continue. And this is useful, for example, if you have a branch, as we will see in the next video regarding the evaluate steps. You have one step called decision point, where you have 2 branches coming, or maybe 3-4 branches coming from that step. So if one of the branches is failing, you don't want the whole playbook to fail, so you can ignore the error in that case. So for example, if you have branching, one branch go to check from VirusTotal, one branch go to check from IBM X-Force, one branch go to check from Fortinet, FortiGuard. So you have like 3 types of threat intelligence sources. So you don't need one problem or one branch that is failing to block the whole playbook. For example, you may have some connectivity problem with Fortinet, FortiGuard, or your subscription is over, and this will actually leads to an error that there is a problem retrieving the reputation from Fortinet, FortiGuard, and this could cause the whole playbook to fail. In that case, you can ignore the error for such a step. Okay, so this is useful in that case. So create record, all the core steps, create record, update record. You will see the mock output, ignore error, the same things coming in all these steps. Okay, so create record, update record is almost the same. The only difference is that you for sure you need to select the module, and then to point to the record, the input record that is coming for this step, so to be able to update it. So it's just a pointer, so we have to go to the input and select the record. So you can see here there are no input defined, because actually if you remember, guys, I will close this one. The input for us was just a referenced step, so we did not select any module here to be an input for that step. So for that, I will first delete this one. I will return back to the start, and I will change this to, actually I will delete this one as well. I will select any type that has a record input. So on create, I will select alerts, save. Okay, now when I select this one and update record, now I have an input records coming, which is an alert. So when I select alert again, you will see here records coming. So I can select the ID for the alert. You have to give this name one for each step. Okay, so this is the difference between update and create. We didn't face that issue when we select the create record, because this is a creation, but for updating we have to point to the previous step input, and that's why I have to change the manual trigger, or the reference trigger to the on create one. Okay, and next you again select the fields that you want to update, and at the very bottom you will see the step utilities that we talked about. Okay, then we have find records. So this one is about looking for some records. So define the module and then the search query, and the search query is very similar to the conditions that we saw before in the previous lesson for the trigger types of on create, on update, and on delete. So you have you can add a condition for the query building, and then you can again choose the one of the step utilities. You here define a record limit for the returned records. So you search for example, for some alerts. It depends. This is a context menu based on the selected module. So you want to return all the records that have an ACK date, let's say before some time, like the last 10 minutes. Return all the records or all the alerts that have acknowledgement date before 10 minutes ago. So something like this. Okay, so the record limit, put some limit, because maybe in the subsequent steps you designed your playbook to work only on a maximum of 30 records, so you don't know exactly how many records will be returned in the last 10 minutes. So you put this limit to be able to work properly on the returned results. Okay, you can include correlated records as well. This is one option. Okay, ingest bulk feed is nothing but to ingest multiple records. So you select here alerts, and then you have at the bottom a loop that allows you to ingest multiple records from a list if you want to do so. Then you have the set variables. This is very important, and it's best practice to always use a set variable step as a configuration step at the very beginning of your playbook design, just after your start step, to have some step for settings your variables to be used later on in your playbook. So here you put a name for the step like configuration, and then come and set your variables. Okay, so this is just organizing step. It's optional thing, but it's recommended, as I said, as a best practice for your design of your playbooks. So this makes the core steps of a playbook. I hope that you find this lesson useful, and see you next lesson, where we will talk about the evaluation or the evaluate steps.